So I'm a pattern trader. That's what I do when I spot opportunities. Okay. So that's one of the first things that we look at. When it comes to creating these acceptable risk trades, sometimes we'll use options. Sometimes we won't use options. Okay. There's going to be areas like, for instance, in cryptocurrency, we just simply don't use options to trade. You can get outside of the world of crypto and get into stock options like Coinbase or Riot blockchain. Those are some areas you can move into for options. But for actual cryptocurrencies, we go and actually trade the cryptos. And the reason we do is because cryptos go 8 decimal places to the right. So you can risk as much or as little as you want on a cryptocurrency. All right. Before I move any further down the road here, let me open up my screen. And just real quick, all right, disclaimer on the screen, you can pause this on the recording if you want to read it word for word. The only 2 things I'm going to mention right now. Number 1, stock, crypto, and options trading, they all have large potential rewards, but they also have large potential risk. And number 2, I'm not your money manager. I'm not an investment advisor. I'm here to just simply show you how it is that I spot these opportunities. All right. So my live session today, this is what I want to cover with you today. Mark, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. First one on the chat. And again, I don't expect a lot of people to show up today. This is something that I just looked at. I'm looking at we're ushering in earnings season. I got a meeting in a little while, and I thought, you know what? I got at least an hour between now and the meeting I have. So let me jump on live, show everybody what I'm doing, what I'm looking at, what I'm doing, what we looked at last week. We're going to review stocks and commodities. I want to look at the money calendar because it is telling me what everybody else has been ignoring. And that is that this market wants to go higher, right? October, we all talk about October. If you talk to anyone about when the worst month to be in the stock market is, they're all going to say October without reviewing the real data. We've already passed through. Mid-September was the time to be out of the markets. I'll show you that. We're in mid-October. Everything I see seasonally says this market's going up. I mean, think about it, guys. We got to actually start thinking about holidays, all right? We got to start thinking about holidays. I mean, I went to Walmart, if you can believe that. Yes, I shop at Walmart. My wife, I like to call her Mrs. 99%er. She goes into Walmart. She says, I need some new shoes. She likes disposable shoes. And she bought some shoes for like $6 over there. She wanted to drive. I probably spent more in gas than we spent at Walmart. But the reason I bring it up is that, I go my way, she goes hers. I head to the outdoor section, and before I even get there, I see Christmas trees, wrapping paper, everything starting to go up. It goes up earlier and earlier every single year. Go to your local Walmart. I imagine Target's probably got it going on too. Haven't gone there yet, but if Walmart's doing something, Target's either ahead of them or right behind them one way or another. So there's that. We're going to talk about cryptocurrencies. So last week I did a video here. And I was talking about the 5 coins that I like as buy and hold coins. If you have not seen that video, take a look at it. We're going to review those 5 coins and just see where they've gone just in the last week since we shot that video, as well as my target for Bitcoin and where the next push level is. I call it the next push level. The push level is where all the volume's going to be, right? And we're pretty close. We got close last night, right? We'll see if we make another run up there again, okay? And then, of course, options. And I see Sherry's on here commenting, I'm getting killed on options. I'm still on Robinhood. What should I switch over to? All right. So one thing I can't do, Sherry, is I can talk about brokers that I use. I don't recommend brokers. I'm not going to give you some free stock for going to a broker. That's not what I'm going to do. In fact, the only thing I'm going to post in the chat room right now, and I'll post this a couple times, is for those of you that want to check out Tom's option tools, we have a 14-day for $14 trial. to our option tools. And I'm going to be getting into those today. As far as brokers, though, Sherry, I have Robinhood. I use Robinhood for long-term stuff. So I'm using Robinhood for stocks, longer-term options if they're out there, and I use them for fake cryptocurrency. Okay, I call it fake cryptocurrency because it's not real. But Robinhood is moving over to giving crypto wallets. So I might have to stop talking dirty about Robinhood if they're going to actually give you the ability to buy and store real crypto. That's actually exciting. When you say that you're losing money trading options, it may not be Robinhood. It might or it might not. Okay, because there's other brokers out there that give you different opportunities in different ways of placing orders than Robinhood. So stick with me here, and we'll see if we can't go through a couple of those before my time is up today. All right. So again, Amit, hello. Harmon, good to see you. Kim, thank you very much. And let's go ahead and dive right into it, guys. So what I want to do is I want to talk about stocks and commodities first. And so what this is going to lead me into is the last time that we were together, and the last time I was talking about this, I was talking about the markets, and we were looking at, if you remember, you got to go back, almost 2 weeks. It's been a little while since I've done a live stream here. I think it's been 2 weeks. So we were looking at the time at a 61% pullback in the SPY. So this is the S&P 500. And if you look at S&P 500, you can see here we had a low. We were coming into June. I showed the low at 615 or 415 on 615, the high at 453.23, and we had a pullback that came in right at the beginning of October. Now, if you notice this was all of September, okay? This was pretty much all of September. And if we went back and looked at, you know what, I'm gonna dive around here a little bit, guys, because I got a story to tell you here. This was, okay, so let's take a look at September. Let me log in. Let me go to the money calendar. And I'm going to back up. And I want to show you September because we can go backwards and forwards here. Let's go backwards. See the money calendar for September? You see the back half of September, and then we roll into October. And you see that over the course of 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 days going into the last week of September, we were bearish. Okay, that kind of coincides with what we saw happening in the month of September. We had a little bit of bullishness, but then September ended on a down note. Okay, that's where the volatility was. Now take a look at, and let me bring up a new tab for Tom's option tools, and I want to share with you the chart for the S&P 500. Stock charts. Now let's go to my list. And this is my list. Now you can see here's that end of October. Look what's happened since then. All right, we've got, let me throw the Fibonacci chart up there because that kind of tells the story. And there's that 415 low, and there's that 453 high, and there's that area that we saw, that 61.8%. We jumped above. Look at that. Within one day, we had a big gap up. We came back down, and if you are on any of my live streams this week, I was talking about this was a really interesting hold area that we were likely going to be at, and I was really going to like this market, and we got above 438.62. Well, boy, did we, because again, we had some information. We had some earnings that came out on banks. There were banks that were crushing it, and that's caused a lot of movement in the overall market, especially the S&P 500 stocks. So we've got that big move up. I think that we have that ability because I'm looking at trends. I'm looking at seasonality. We're going into a holiday season. This first couple weeks of earnings are typically going to be strong, and that's what we're seeing. All of that added together tells me that the path of least resistance is going to be up. Okay, path of least resistance is up. So that's S&P 500. If we were to look at my chart of, let's take a look at the next chart. Here's USO. Now, USO, I'm typically a bear on oil, on all things oil after July. It was kind of hard to be a bear since if you go back into July, Here's where we were in July, right? And I caught this little move down here. And the only reason I got out was because of options. That was it. We had a big move down and my options had doubled in value and I sold. All right. I sold and I actually was coming to the end of, in this particular case, it was, I believe it was August. And I was running out of time anyway. So I sold out and I saw this big bounce up and I thought we could pack up here and roll over. Then I might like this, but we didn't. We ran through this triple top and we moved higher. And this was into the end of October. And so, you look at the story around oil, and oil, it's really odd because who would have thought that with all of the push for EV, for electric, for wind, for solar, the oil markets, we were going to have the revenge of the oil, right? The revenge of the fossil fuels. And that's exactly what we've gotten. So let's go ahead and fast forward. This was 54.55. This was just 2 weeks ago. What has oil done since then? USO. Let's take a peek. 56.54 today. Again, new highs in crude. I do not want to short this market. I don't like shorting things that are making new all-time, or not all-time highs, but new highs for the year. I'd rather short something that we're seeing lower highs and lower lows. So I'm going to kind of hang out and see where this ends up rolling over. But I might completely skip the oil market for the rest of this year and maybe look to the bullish side once we go into bullish seasonality, which will start next February. So we've got some time. Okay, next chart. This was 2 weeks ago. Gold. Now, gold's been an interesting one because we saw gold coming down, and gold hit a new bottom for the year when it dropped all the way down. Well, not for the year, but for this particular time frame, which is about 6 months. Hit a bottom back there at the end of September, 161.34, and we were looking for a jump. And we were looking for the jump to come to 168 to maybe 170, but 168 was my first area of resistance. So if we were going to bounce back, these were the levels that were concerning me. Let's see where gold went. I'm a long-term owner, okay? I have GLD in my long-term portfolio. I don't love it as a trader, but I do like it as an investor and as a hedge against everything else. GLD. All right, here's your 6-month on GLD. And what do you see here? You know what I see? I see us running into resistance right there at that 168 level. Had a big run up yesterday. In fact, that was probably one of my best positions yesterday was in GLD. GLD is really doing nothing for me today, but everything else is kind of coming into fruition. So when I look at the rest of the stock market, it looks kind of like this. Let me flip back. We looked at SPY going higher. This is TLT. The bond market has been moving a lot with the stock market. All right. The only way the bond market's going to push the stock market down is if we make new lows. And I'm talking about new near-term lows back down here. We close below 141, and that's going to put some pressure on the stock market because a close lower in the bond market means higher potential yields. So, but that's not happening right now. So the bond market's drifting higher. That's going to move the stock market along with it. Take a look at UUP. This is cash. This is cash against foreign currency. So when you take a look at UUP, where at the beginning of summer, we were down here in the low 24s, and now we're sitting in the mid 25s. That means that US dollar has risen against most other major currencies. Okay. This is really not a bull or a bear right now, because even though the dollar is a little more expensive, you take a look at what a dollar buys you in the world of commodities like food, milk, eggs. I mean, look at the price of bacon. I think we saw huge increases in bacon. Lumber's going back up again. Plywood's going back up again. Guess what that's going to do? That's going to push house prices. A lot of people earlier this year said, oh, the housing market's been overdone. And yes, you know what? We're starting to see more people qualify for loans with 5% down than we've seen in 10 years. But we're not seeing stated incomes coming in. We're not seeing a lot of leverage coming in. A lot of folks that are buying for investment are actually putting 20% down because they got to, because banks are not going to let them get away with what they did 10 years ago, at least right now. Okay. The banks might get greedy. The banks might go ahead and figure out how they want to lever up and provide more money to their investors, to their shareholders. And we might have that same problem crop up again. But right now, we're not seeing it. What we are seeing is a push in commodity prices. As commodity prices rise, that's going to make everything that we purchase go up in value. I'll give you a short little story here too. So I have a Jeep, okay? And this is a Jeep that it's got the pickup bed on the back of it. All right. So it's not the Gladiator. It was kind of a prototype to the Gladiator. And it has a 392 Hemi stuffed inside of this thing. Well, fantastic. I mean, beautiful. Love the sound, love the ride, love the pickup. Problem is, this thing's so heavy, the brakes weren't slowing it down enough. So I went ahead and got bigger brakes put on it. Well, it needs a bigger booster and it needs a bigger reservoir. And guess what? I can't find them. They're not. I've had 3 different part suppliers. I just had the third one email me back today and said, we're running on back order. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with this Jeep that has brakes in it now that I can't stop. What I'm telling you is that supply chains are also causing the goods and services that we have now that actually work to increase in value. I have a Dodge Ram that's a couple years old. I could get more money for it now. Crazy. I don't have a lot of miles on it, but I can get more money for it now than I paid for it 2 years ago. So this is the world we're living in right now. And all of this is causing spikes in value. Look at USO. We talked about that already. New highs. GLD. We talked about the spike on that. Let's move forward. Facebook. Okay. Here's one that I believe is going to be a value. All right. So if you take a look at Facebook, 382.18. All right. That's our high. Look at the low, 323.77. Now, the low was only 2 days ago. And if you count yesterday, it was actually, could have been yesterday, it was close to the lows. Here's what I'm seeing. Facebook is bouncing off of potential support. So where's the next level of resistance? The next level of resistance, and by the way, how many of you out there, okay? How many of you watching this live stream right now believe that Facebook could go higher from here? How many of you are looking at Facebook as a potential value buy? Chime in. Let me know. Traders Alliance, good to see you again. Or Ed, as we say. All right. Joe, I'm actually happy you're having fun with Earnings Trader, because the next time I do a show here, a live stream, I think I'm going to get into earnings a little bit. And Joe, are you taking Earnings Trader and are you following into earnings, or are you following it out of earnings, or are you doing both? Because we have that one where we slide in, and then we also have that ability to take it on the outside too. All right, so got Ark saying maybe. Mark says it might. Willie says no. You know what? The last thing I want to do is I don't want to influence you as to your decision on where you believe a stock is likely to go. I'm a rules-based trader. Okay. So I want to go look at Facebook and see, is there anything coming up in any of my rules-based strategies that are potentially giving me a buy opportunity? Okay. Here's what we do know. If you want to look at past history, Facebook has not been without scandal before. Do you guys all remember Cambridge Analytics? Remember that scandal? And they made new all-time highs. I think Facebook has enough tech, has enough. You take a look at Oculus, for instance. All right. Facebook has to get into the gaming area. Amazon did. And Amazon just came out with their own streaming, their own online game. And they are killing it right now. They're killing it. Facebook is going to have to jump into the gaming area. It's too big to ignore. And so they've got the hardware. It's just a matter of them jumping in and providing the software and creating some online VR games that'll take it to the next level. And I think they can. Right. So you look at the fact that the pattern at Facebook we've seen has been more fundamental. Right. I'd like to see some technical patterns, but if you believe Facebook's on the bounce, what you have to look at if you're a Fibonacci trader is you look at where we were where we are right now and where we could be targeting to. So if Facebook's trading at, this is a great segue right here too. If Facebook is trading at the level of 328.83, all right, and you see it going to potentially 346, there is an opportunity here in options. Now, we're going to come back to Facebook in just a moment. I want to go look at the others, all right? Apple. Okay, now Apple actually is a trendier looking stock. Take a look at the low, summer low, 124, all right? Summer high, 156.69. Fall pullback, 50%. We're sticking to 50% pullbacks here. I'd say a close above 144.03, and Apple is going to make the quiet run back up. You know why? First of all, technical. It's going to bounce off that 50% retracement. Number two, we've got some potential seasonal opportunities here too. Okay. And number three, holiday shopping is coming to a town, city, state, or country near you. The holidays have never been bad to Apple. Now, the question that we have to ask ourselves is, what can we do with this as a stock, right? So we're going to get into that too. Now, Amazon. Amazon, my favorite put selling strategy. I sell puts on Amazon almost every week, and every week I'm ka-chinging the register. Let me tell you what I'm ka-chinging right now on Apple or on Amazon. There's two FANG stocks that I use to ring the register selling puts. I'm a put seller, but I also am very, very conservative as a put seller. But let me share with you. There we go. Face ID. It's live. See, that's what happens in a live session. The live sessions, you know, sometimes things take a little while to come through. Okay, so Amazon, I am ka-chinging the register for Amazon tomorrow for about 22 grand. Nice little trade there. Now, let me tell you what I'm going to ka-ching on the next one. You know why I ka-chinged? Because when we came down, I saw this right below 3,200. Once, twice, three times becomes a very good value at this area. Guess what else happens? Let me put it up on the screen for you, because it's important to know, create that low risk or high probability trade. See where this IV was last week? When Amazon, oh, sorry, that's SPY. I knew that looked funny. Where's Amazon? There it is. Look at this IV. Look at the stock comes down. Let me zoom in. Stock comes down. IV goes up. And all of a sudden, when we're up here above 28, I am liking it. Now, I might sit out because Amazon's going to have earnings coming out pretty soon. I might sit out the earnings because that's a little dicey. You know, we put earnings on. Maybe I'll end up doing spreads, like a put spread, a call spread, do an iron condor, way away from it. Amazon usually comes out with its earnings on Thursdays after the close. So that's like a one-day trade. You put the Friday trade on Thursday afternoon before the earnings, and you look to hope to let it expire worthless on Friday. Potential idea. All right, let me show you my other put selling strategy that I like to do almost every week, and that would be on Google. So Google actually has a really nice chart to it too. Take a look at Google. Lows 2350, highs 2904, the pullback. All right, I'm in the pullback here. Look where the IV was. These options were trading at a volatility of 16. Look where they were last week, 30. All right, this is where I like to sell these. I like to sell premium when it's more expensive. All right, when it's more expensive than it typically is. I don't want to sell something that's cheap down here when the stock's making new all-time highs. That's not the time to be selling puts, to be doing what's called cash secured put selling, right? And I got a nice put, about 18,000 on that one coming in. So these are what I do, and I take that money, guys. I do this thing called robbing Peter to pay Paul. All right. So I'm robbing Amazon. What am I doing with Amazon? I'm using those dollars. Sometimes I put them in my pocket. Sometimes I use those dollars to pay for other things. All right. What can we pay for? Let's look at what we can pay for. So I'm going to back this up. I could pay for Apple, right? I could go in and I could look at Apple and I could look at a spread on Apple. I could look at a spread on Facebook, right? Of the two, you've got one that's a trend. You got one that's really I don't want to say a lottery ticket for Facebook, but we could get something potentially that would bounce here. Both of these look like, well, Facebook looks like a potential shorter term target, and Apple looks like a potential longer term target. So let me just share with you the shorter term target with Facebook. Now, to do that, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to share with you my brokerage account. All right. Well, most of it. I'm actually going to go into Street Smart Central, which is part of Charles Schwab. All right. I'm going to show you how I analyze and create these trades. Now, again, as I've said before, this is not a recommendation. I'm teaching you guys how to fish, how to financially fish. So I'm going to financially fish right now looking at Facebook. And I'm going to bring my screen over so everybody can see it. Let's pop it right in there. And then what I'm doing is what's called an all-in-one ticket. Uh-oh. Hold, please. I see something that I need to do right away. Because, when I ran in here to start this thing, I forgot maybe, just maybe, I need to plug in so that I don't lose power. And we're plugged and we're going. All right, so let's take a look at Facebook, FB. So if Facebook is down here and that IV is up here, help me out here, folks. Am I a buyer of option premium or am I a seller of option premium? Which one am I going to look at? Am I buying premium or am I selling premium? Here's a hint. See when Facebook goes up and that option premium goes down? Those of you that are out there talking to me and saying, I'm losing money on options. I'm not doing so good. Possibly you could be buying options at the wrong time and you could be right on the stock and still lose money. I've done it before. That's what's happened to me. Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm looking at this red line. This red line here tells me whether options are cheap or expensive. They were cheap in August. They've gotten a little more expensive now. So now I see sell, selling, sell premium, selling, sell, seller, sell. Okay, great. So we got some answers out there because this is a two-way street here. Now I want to ask you the next question. Can I sell premium and create a limited risk trade? All right. Can I do something other than sell puts? And what would that be? All right. Just chime it in. If you guys all know this, many of you do, some of you don't. Right? Yes. KM says yes. Yes, you can. All right. So I'm going to share with you exactly how I do that. So let's jump over to. So we're on Facebook. Let's do this. Let's create a put spread. What is a put spread? A put spread is the ability to sell puts, but then we're going to reinsure ourselves by buying lower, and just in case we're wrong. Right. So take a look at where's Facebook at right now. So my levels down here, that 323. So I'm really liking the 325 strike. That's a good place. I believe this is a good place to sell. 325. So if I look at the 325 puts to sell, then that's what I'm looking at, and maybe buy the 320s. Now, what can we do that for? All right, now this is a 5-point strike. It says right now I can do it for 57 by 61. So let's call it 58 cents. So it's a 58-cent credit to your account, but look at the risk. I got to wipe my eyes. It's so risky. What's $5 minus 58 cents? Something really close to 450. That's what you'd be risking if Facebook went down. The problem is this is too close. I mean, it's Thursday. This is a one-day trade. The reason why you're risking so much is because this trade expires tomorrow. And if we are above 325 by tomorrow, if you're above 325 by tomorrow, you get to keep that money. Now, let me just give you an idea what this would look like. If I did 10 and 10, so if I did 10, let's say I did it for a debit for a credit of 60 cents. What I'm doing is I'm selling the 325s. I'm buying the 320s. Where do I want Facebook to be by tomorrow afternoon? Anywhere above 325. This all goes to zero. I keep, let's try again. Let me make this, I got to really get in here, guys. This all goes to zero. Okay. I get to keep the 60 cents. I don't even have to close the trade out. I can let it expire worthless. Now that times 10 is actually $600. That's 600 bucks. What am I risking? Again, I'm risking stay with me here. I'm risking $5,000 minus 600. I'm risking $4,400 to keep 600. Now, you look at this, you say that's insane. Why would you do that? Well, I could buy 1,000 shares of Facebook with the intent of selling them tomorrow. Isn't that the same thing? I could have, but the difference is that I could have Facebook go up 5 points or go down 5 points, and I could make 5,000 or I could lose 5,000. Okay. What makes this trade so special is that if Facebook does nothing between today and tomorrow, if Facebook does nothing, then I can keep the money. I get a full profit potential. That's Facebook. Now, how can you make this spread better or bigger? If we go out a week, let's say we go out to the 1022s. Now look what happens. You're selling the 325 and you're buying the 320s for protection. Now you're bringing in over $1.50. So let's say you bring in $1.50. Now you're risking 3.5. Again, it's probability. The probability is, remember, stock can do one of three things. It can go up, it can go down, it can go sideways. If two of those things are in your favor, you make money. If it goes up, you make money. If it goes sideways, you make money. If it goes down, what's my break even by Friday the 22nd? It's going to be the strike price you sold minus the credit you took in. So you take 325 and subtract $1.50 from it. So as long as Facebook's above 323.5 by next Friday, you are at break even. Okay. That's called a put spread. I know some of you in here are probably thinking, wow, I've never done this before. That's what repetition does for you. The more knowledge you get and the more you just continually, get more knowledgeable about these type of things, the more comfortable you're going to get with them. And the more likely you're going to start looking at them as alternatives than to simply, the last thing you want to do is buy a call here, because the call options are not cheap. They're expensive right now. Okay. Let me give you an example. Let's go look at a call on Facebook with next week's expiration. If I were to buy to open, look at the 327.5 calls. With tomorrow, Facebook has to get $2 and let's call it $2.30 above 327.50 by tomorrow's close. So we got to get up there to near $330. Got to close above 330 to actually make any money. So buying the call option, to me, that's an expensive proposition. If you think the 15th, if you think one day is expensive, look at the 22nd. $6. It's going to cost you $6. So we got to be $6 above 327.50 by next Friday in order to break even on the trade. It all comes down to the thin red line, I like to call, not that line, this one, the thin red line of volatility. When volatility is going up, I want to sell. When volatility is going down, I want to buy. Let's take a look at how this looks with Apple, what I like to call the longer term trade. So Apple too has had lower volatility. It's averaged in the 20s. Apple's had higher volatility before earnings. It went up to the high 30s. We have earnings for the next. Now we have earnings on Facebook, on Apple, on all of FANG. We got a lot of earnings coming in, and that might be a lot of the reason why the vol is higher. But did you see with Facebook, high vol even for tomorrow's options, and Facebook doesn't have earnings this afternoon, right? So now if you look at Apple, you say 14 days. That's part of why this chart's going up. But it's actually, believe it or not, slightly lower than average. So how do you trade Apple? How do I trade Apple? I do it a little differently. Let me put that chart up there so you can see it. So with Apple, what I can do is let's set up a potential trade on Apple, AAPL. And by the way, guys, if I'm in something, I'm going to tell you I'm in something. All right. Full transparency here. If I'm not in something, I am not going to show you a trade and get into it thinking you're going to be getting into it after me and push me higher. That's called front running. I don't do that. All right? Anything I'm going to show you, I have not done myself, and I'll give myself at least 24 hours before I jump in and do anything I show you. All right? And again, I want to mention this too. This is not a recommendation, okay? This is education. So education with Apple would look like this. The call options, and I'm looking at not 10-15, I'm looking out there to mid-November. I want to take myself out to the November third Friday of the month when everybody's already starting to think about the holidays. The earnings for Apple were behind us, all right? We all know that Apple's iPhone sales are going to come in a little soft because of supply chain issues. But Apple's making more money with online e-commerce right now than they ever have. So I believe that's going to be a little bit surprising. And then the big push is going to be heading into the holiday season. So you look at Apple, the 45 calls. The 45 calls. Why do we want to look at the 45 calls? We want to look at the 145 calls. So let's move this up to something that's a little bit more close to the money. The 145 calls with Apple with a November 19th expiration are just above $3.50 a share. We were just looking at Facebook, a 1 week option at the money option. That was trading for $6. So can you see the difference between what's cheap and what's expensive? Now, we could look at Apple and we could say, all right, where's Apple's potential? I see the next area of, that big area of resistance. If we climb above 144, then we're going to be in the 156 range. That's 11 points higher, really a good 12 points higher than we are right now. So if I can buy something, a 145 for 3.5, potentially that could triple in value. So buying the calls on Apple looks like it makes good sense. Do you want a cheaper trade than calls? Let me show you a cheaper trade. Take a look at, with Apple, what if we were to buy a call spread, right? Using the November 19th options, we could look at that 145 call as a buy to open, and we could look at the 155 call as the sell to close. So there's that 10-point move. Where are we now? Where do we believe the target is? That can be done for $2.77. So a little bit less, not the best. But you know what? You could really squeeze that in with a 150. And all of a sudden now, your $3.52 trade just got brought down to nearly half price, $1.84. Want to make it even cheaper? You can use a butterfly spread. Butterfly spread is the ability to spread, to create your buy to open. Let's make them all for the example I'm showing you, which is 11.19. We are going to look at the 145 calls to buy, the 150 calls to sell. We sell that times 2. And then we buy a 155 call for upside protection. So those of you who have traded Apple in the past, and you're like, wow, Apple just isn't working for me. This might be the cheapest way to trade Apple, but the sweet spot's going to be at 150. Look at this, 91 cents. Okay, this is going to cost $91 per butterfly spread. Now, this $91 could balloon out to be $5 by November 19th. Where do we have to be for that to occur? Apple has to be at $150 on November 19th to get the maximum reward of $4.10. Risking 90 to make 410. That's what this trade's offering up. But you got to be in that sweet spot in the middle of November. Okay? So I showed you 3 different ideas on what you can do with a stock like Apple. But in every one of these cases, we're looking at low volatility that could become higher. Some of you might be thinking, well, wait a minute. I thought spreads were only used during high volatility. No, not if you're doing it this way, where you actually have the spread. You're putting your targets above today's stock price. Then what you're doing is you're buying into volatility. Okay? All right. Let's move forward, because I've got some even more interesting information to share with you. So let's jump over to cryptocurrency. All right. If you were following me in last week's video, I talked about Bitcoin, I talked about Ethereum, and I talked about 3 other cryptocurrencies that are in my vault. All right. Buy and hold. We know Bitcoin. I'm not going to go through and read all this. You can watch last week's video if you want to. What I want to do is I want to show you where Bitcoin was trading at last week. We were looking at that $47,000 area. Where are we at now? We're $10,000 higher. In just the last week, we're $10,000 higher. In fact, I also talked about for those of you that wanted to buy it as it was moving higher, to consider something called a stop. Now, a stop gives you the ability to, let me find the screen I'm looking for, because this is kind of important. A stop, here you go, is the ability to, if we're trading in the high 40s and you want to catch where the big push is going to be. 53,000 was the push last week. We hit 53,000. So remember, we were in the high 47s. And we were looking at an entry that was $5,000 above where it was. Well, we pushed through that late last week, and here we are at 57,000. So whether you looked at Bitcoin last week at 47, whether you decided I like this stop order idea. I go in and put my order details in. I put my price in. I put my limit in. I confirm, and only if Bitcoin gets above 53,000 am I in the trade. Then I'm in. In both cases, congratulations. I think that's if I were to offer two words to you, congratulations would be one, and you're welcome might be another to throw out there for you. But we talked about my long-term target on Bitcoin, which was 190,000. Again, I discussed the three phases in a past video with you. The three adoption phases of Bitcoin, and we're in the institutional phase right now. And the institutional phase tells me that 190 is the target I'm looking for. We're going to see some wiggle. I do believe very, very soon we're going to see new all-time highs in Bitcoin. It could come as early as next week, right? And we'll take a look at Bitcoin here in just a moment because I want to take a look at it. I want to leave us off right here for a moment because we talked about this, but let's take a look at cryptocurrency. And I'm going to go back to my option tools, tomsoptiontools.com. You're just joining me, guys, and you've never done you've never took a trial of our tools. We've got a really, really great tool here that you can take a look at. And that is a 14-day for 14 for 14 trial, which will give you the ability to look at everything we have to offer in either our option trader, contrarian trader, or complete trader. Check it out. And then after that, you get a special price going forward. But it also includes cryptocurrency. And the cryptocurrency I'm going to go into right now with you. And what I want to do is I want to talk about the other trades, the other coins we discussed last week and where they stand right now. So let's go to crypto tools. I want to go to chart. I want to go to Coinbase because that's where I trade most of my coins through, Coinbase and Coinbase Pro. And there we go. Let me slide this down a little bit. Let's start with the first one, BTC. So BTC, and let me throw some Fibonacci charts up there for us too. Here we go. You know what? In fact, I'm not even going to use the 100-day chart. I'm going to use the 10-day chart. And the reason I'm going to use the 10-day chart, and you know what? I want to turn all this other stuff off because you really need to see where this thing is. All right, where we're going here. Let's get rid of Fibonacci. I just want to see what's been happening just in the last week. All right. And remember, 10 days is not 5 days like the stock market, or 10 days is not 5 days and a couple of weekends. 10 days is 10 days. We know if you're a crypto trader, we trade on the weekends. We trade overnight. We trade on holidays. This thing doesn't stop. Here's where we are last week when I was talking about when I released that video last week. We were here, right? We were moving on up, and you've seen what's happened since then. Nice big move to the upside. My next level, by the way, my next push level for those of you that are stop traders, you want to see where the volume is going to come in at next? 59,000. After that, it's going to be 64,000. 59,000 because we're getting a lot of bunching that's going on in that area, and that was support levels in the past. That was resistance levels in the past. And look what's been happening in the last 4 days. We're coming up on this 58. I mean, even this was 58.5 last night. 58,514. We get above that 59,000 level, you're going to see us push into the low 60s very quickly. Okay, that's the push level. That's where all the volume's sitting. And you might be saying, what do you mean where all the volume's sitting? It's not a lot of stop traders that want to get into the markets. It's a lot of stop traders that are short cryptocurrencies by way of futures contracts that are going to get caught on the wrong side. They're going to have to buy these things back at the market, and that's what's going to push cryptocurrency higher. It happened at 53. See this area? There was the push day that occurred, and it pushed us right past 53 up to 55.5, just like that. Yes, we came down a little bit, and we started slowly moving higher and higher. Notice our area, the last 4 days, we've been kind of sitting on the high. But I want you to take a look and see what's been happening with the lows. Lows are getting higher, 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 which tells me that this bull isn't done yet. Okay? All right. Let's move forward to the coin, the second coin I was talking about, which is Ethereum. ETH. This is another buy and hold. Put it in the vault, store it. Oh, wow. I've been waiting for this. Ethereum. I've been talking about Ethereum being the caboose on this train, on this bullish train. Bitcoin made the run, and it spread apart. Now Ethereum's playing catch up right now. That's why Bitcoin's really moving sideways the last couple of days, because all the money's been moving into Ethereum, and Ethereum had its push day today. All right, today 3,600. Look at all this area right here at 3,600. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then finally the push that pushed us above 36, and we're at 3,800 right now, folks. 3,800 on Ethereum, and so Ethereum might be. Ethereum might be no longer the tail of the dog. It might be the head, and Bitcoin could be the tail, and we could just have this constant cycle from one coin to the other. Let's talk about the next three coins that I'm just discussing in the buy and hold. And the next coin I want to talk about is Cardano, symbol ADA. Now, this one I'm actually shocked at, because last week, I'm going to tell you, I'm a holder. My latest purchase on Cardano was at 230. So I got in at near the highs here. We pulled back to around 210. Right now we're at 219. So I'm down 11 cents on this particular one from my latest buy. Okay. But I'm okay with that, considering what Bitcoin's doing, consider what Ethereum's doing. I still like Cardano. Cardano's gotten a little bad news lately, but it's not really shaking this coin. This coin, I believe, is an up-and-comer. I did tell you my target on Bitcoin, which was 190,000. Did I tell you my target on Ethereum? Closer to 10,000. Have I told you my target on Cardano yet? No, I have not. $10. Okay. Is what I'm looking for out of Cardano. I'm looking for a triple or a quadruple, I guess, from where we are now. Next coin. The symbol's DOT. The coin is Polkadot. Now, I didn't buy Polkadot because I thought it was a really cool sounding coin. I buy Polkadot for the same reason I bought Cardano, for the same reason I bought Ethereum. This is next level Ethereum stuff, guys. All right. Transaction speeds greatly increased. They're adding so much value to the blockchain. And you're talking about something that, now I got this one down here in the low 30s. And look where we are now. We're at 40. We're at 40. And we're off the highs. The highs were 42, 48. So I've had a nice increase in Polkadot here since I got involved in my latest purchase of Polkadot, which was in the low 30s. All right. Again, these are four. My fifth buy and hold. This one's a little controversial. The reason it's controversial is because I own Coinbase, the stock. Yes. And I think that's a value play itself, although I keep wondering to myself, why do I own this stock when I actually own plenty of cryptocurrency? What am I doing in this space? I think it's a great value. Coinbase adding NFTs to their list of products to purchase. But this next coin, I believe, is a great hedge to Coinbase, and that coin is BNB. And in order to get to BNB, I actually got to go to all cryptos, because this one you cannot trade in a Coinbase account. And I kind of think the reason you can't trade in a Coinbase account is because they are a direct competitor to Coinbase, and that is Binance Coin. Again, symbol BNB. So Binance Coin, we were talking about in the 430 range when it was at $430. Look what Binance is at right now, 471. So out of the 4 coins that I talked about, even as late as last week, we have some very interesting developments happening to them. 4 of the 5 of them are higher. A couple of them are very high, okay? And then Cardano, because you can't be right on everything all the time. But Cardano is the one that I think is going to be playing catch up as we move along. Those are my 5 buy and hold, take them to the vault, generational coins, generational value, wealth value. You guys may know I'm a trader of cryptocurrency as well. All right, so I'm a buy and hold, but I'm also a trader. And I'm going to give you a coin that popped up on my tradable list here just a couple of days ago. And you know what coin that was? And you can trade it on Coinbase. So let's go back. I said I would never buy and own this coin. And I'm still true to that word because I'll never buy and hold this one. But this one became a trade. And that was Doge. Dogecoin, which I'm merely looking at a potential profit potential of, call it 50%. Right now is trading in the 23-cent area. All right, where am I looking for this to go? To around 35 to 36 cents. Look at this big jump up and precipitous pullback that happened in October. That's the resistance area. That's where I believe we're going to gravitate up to. I believe Dogecoin is going to move with, it's going to be one of those boats that's going to be lifted by the tide. All right, a rising tide lifts all boats or many boats. And I believe Doge is going to be one of those many boats that gets lifted with the tide, and it'll become an alpha coin. It'll become a meme coin again, and all of the stimulus, the stimmies, will come out and start talking about it again. And I think that'll be back up there in those in that mid-30s range, and that's where I believe the target's at. That's my thought on Doge. So I'm looking at this as a short-term in and out, but I thought I would share that with the community because it's sitting right. In the last 4 days, it's just kind of been sitting right where it is. So it's an interesting play. Again, I think it's the riskiest of everything I've talked about right now. But here's the thing. What's your risk on Doge? Is it 23 cents? It can be if you just buy it and you fall asleep and never look at it again and not have a stop plan if you're wrong. But you know what it could be too? It could be that we could go back and look at Doge. And let's take a look at it the last 50 days. And let's say to ourselves, where has it bottomed out at in the last 50 days? You see this? Anything below 20 cents or about 19 and a half cents. That's the area I'm looking at, that if we go and close below that area, I don't like it. Jaro, I don't talk about Shiba Inu. I'm not on board with that one. It's too cheap. It's too cheap for me. So, I'll give you this. It could be one of those coins that is like a boat that's going to be lifted by the tide. I just don't know by how much. I've looked at it before, and to me, if it's not trading for pennies, not many depths past a penny, but if it's not trading for pennies, I don't want any part of it. It's just got too much. It's got too much coin out there. All right, there's too much circulation. So let me just double check here, guys. If you got questions, comments, etc., throw them in the screen. Sherry, it has been up to 75, and you know what? My son, God bless him, he sold half of his Doge. He owned it in the 20s. He sold half of his Doge right after Elon Musk started talking on Saturday Night Live. He sold it for around 70 cents. I could not believe it. He top-ticked that thing. And I continue to congratulate him on that move. Sell out when everybody, that's that buy the rumor, sell the news. The rumor was Musk was going to talk up something big on Saturday Night Live. He didn't do anything for Doge on Saturday Night Live. In fact, we saw it cave afterwards. And he had the common sense that he was going to sell that ticket before it became due. If I could just pop over real quick, we talked about placing stop orders. I talked about there's my 18-month, my target for ETH, my 18-month target for Cardano, $10. My 18-month target for Polkadot is $100. Okay, we're already at 40. My outlook for Binance Coin is $1,000. So giving you an idea of what the vault trades look like for me. Okay. How did he sell? You know what, Paul? He did it on Robinhood. He just swiped up is how he did it when it was trading in those areas, because he was trading the fake Doge. So that's how he sold. Now, I talked about order placing comparisons in my last video. I just wanted to kind of reiterate this a little bit with you guys as we finish up. And I got one more thing I want to share with you too. As we finish up, placing orders in or out, even using cryptocurrency. You've got market orders, and we all know with Robinhood you can swipe up. Here, I'll show you. I have a Robinhood account. It's not a big one. It's bigger than it started, but let me just share with you my Robinhood account, which has been open for it's been open for a couple of years. But take a look at this. Here's my Robinhood account. It's up 120%. In the last year. So let me share that with you guys. I'm sharing this with you for the only reason I'm sharing this with you is because you can do this with a small account too. You don't need a big account. All right. Where am I in the last 3 months? Up 65%. There you go. All right. Wish I could make that bigger, but that is it. Okay. And so what do I have in here? I have some stocks. I trade some options in here, and I have cryptocurrency. Or fake cryptocurrency right now until they turn the wallets on. But you can in Robinhood, you can place market orders just by swiping. If you want to do more than market orders, you want to do limit orders, which is at your price or better. If you want to do stop orders, which is basically a market order where the stock has to come to a certain price and then you're automatically put into it as a market order at that time. If you want to do those kind of orders, if it's in the stock market, you got to look outside of the Robinhood area. You can do limit orders with Robinhood, but you can't do stop orders. Okay. If you want to, same thing with cryptocurrency. Coinbase is the place to go for market orders on crypto. And that's where I have a Coinbase account. All right. I got a few crypto accounts. My Coinbase account is the buy and hold account. I buy it at the market and I let it sit in there. All right. I store some of my crypto offline on one of these little guys. Okay. That's a ledger. It's called Ledger in case you're looking for offline storage. And take a look at Coinbase Pro if you want to do more than just market orders. Coinbase Pro allows you to do limit orders and stop orders on cryptocurrency. Okay. And that's what you could do with Coinbase Pro. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I'll save this for another session. And here's some homework for you. So I wanted to get into highest volume options, highest open interest options. I wanted to get into calls. I wanted to get into unusual calls and puts. I wanted to get into cheap and expensive options. Did not have time to do that today, but I'm going to do that with you. How about next week? How about we do another live session together next week? And next time I'll give you guys a little bit more than an hour's notice or less. So what I'm going to need you to do, if you want to follow along with me and use this every single day going forward, is go out to the App Store, the Apple Store or the Google Store, and I want you to go search for something called TG Suite. All right? It's going to be renamed pretty soon to Tom's Option Tools, but look for TG Suite. And when you download TG Suite, if you're a subscriber to our tools, great. Just use your username and password. If you're not, that's okay too. If you're not a Tom's Option Tools subscriber, below the login information, you're going to see non-subscriber login. Go there, enter that your name and email address for information, and you will be granted access to the morning report. You'll download the suite. You'll see all this stuff on the suite, but the morning report's the one that's going to work for you. You click on that morning report, And that's going to open up a whole bunch of morning reports that we do on options. And that's what I'm going to do with you next week. We're going to go through every single one of those morning reports, and we're going to look at sessions. Okay. Sulla, did I say that right? Sulla? I am going to do my session on Tuesday. How do you like that? Because you were the first person that asked. You ask, therefore you will receive. I will do our session next week on Tuesday. Okay. I will do our session on Tuesday somewhere around noon. I think noon is going to be my time. I can do it on Tuesday. Okay. And the reason why is that I've got some other things that I do on Tuesdays, but I will come in here with you and we'll do a session at lunch. So we'll do what I like to call free lunch on Wall Street, because there is no free lunch on Wall Street, but there'll be a free lunch on Wall Street with me. You bring the food, bring your own, BYOB, and I will bring the knowledge and I will bring the trades. Okay. So I'm going to set this up as soon as I log off, and I got a couple other little things to do. I'm going to set this up in YouTube. You'll see it soon. You'll see it very soon, and you'll be able to see us. We'll come in live on Tuesday, and I'll throw some stuff out there just to remind you. All right. So there you go, guys. Hey, do me one favor before you roll out of here, guys. All right. It helps support this channel. You know what I want you to do? Down at the bottom, there's a thumbs up. Please hit the thumbs up. It helps support the channel. Also, share the channel. If you find this information helpful, share it to a friend, family member, coworker. And if you want to get our videos, we do at least one a week. And hit that subscribe button. And I'm going to actually start to do more live streams than anything else. But I'd like to do a live stream and a video once a week going forward. I found that anything more than that to me is just too much information. I don't want to, I'm not, trust me, guys, I'm not doing this for the money. We monetize the account, but what we do is all of our profits from our YouTube channel go to charity. Okay. In fact, the charity that we did this month, as we were getting into the end, and I'm not done yet, but the charity we went to this month, I'll tell you where we went. This went to the NCPD Center for Training and Intelligence, and that's the charity that we ended up going to. I believe that's what the charity was. I'm going to look again. Yeah, this is a charity that is out in the New York area. We do a lot of charities in New York. We do charities on. Hey, Harmon, thank you so much for. I forgot about that. I haven't asked for donations. I don't like to ask for donations. If you find this information helpful, then we have a way of donating too, guys, and you can donate to the channel. But thank you very much, and happy birthday to you, Harmon. I appreciate that. I've seen you donate to our channel before, and like I said, all of our proceeds do go to charities. We do charities around the country, and they vary. All right. So we kind of handpick them. We have donated to various animal shelters. We have donated to high schools. All right. We have donated to hospitals. All right. We donated to Helen Keller. I mean, you just name it. That's, when we try to get out there and find a benefactor, a charitable benefactor to donate to, and we do that every month with the profits that we make on the YouTube channel. And of course, I do this also with a lot of the proceeds I make as a trader. In fact, we donated cryptocurrency last year, a good bit of it. So anyway, guys, I want to thank you all very much for hanging out with me. We will all get together when? Tuesday at noon. All right, Tuesday at noon we'll be here. I hope I got nothing going on down a Tuesday at noon. I don't think I do, but I'm locking that one in. And guys, we'll see you. We'll see you very soon. Sherry, thank you very much for being a subscriber. Awesome. I'm finding more and more people are using our tools on the phone more than anything else, but obviously a lot easier to read on like a 32-inch screen than it is on a 5.5-inch screen. Guys, thank you all very much. I appreciate it. St. Jude, we did give away to St. Jude, by the way, Leonard. Appreciate you bringing that up. Guys, all right, we'll see you next Tuesday. Have a great one. Bye, everyone.